You ever think about the idea that there could be these spiritual giants, these holy people living right among us, and we just never know? Well, today we're talking about a man who is exactly that, a secret hidden for almost 100 years, and now that secret is out.
So it all kicks off with this really strange scene. For nearly a century, there was this one forgotten grave in Freehold, New Jersey. Nobody paid any attention to it, but all of a sudden, people start showing up. Then more people. Now there are crowds coming from everywhere. So what on earth is going on?
I mean, the scene there today is just wild. There's a small tent set up with snacks and drinks to help people deal with the cold. There's even a huge light tower powered by a generator cutting through the darkness. And this is all for the once ignored grave of a man named Rabbi Avraham Yitzchak Klugman. To really get why this is happening, we've got to rewind the clock by exactly 100 years.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're going back to Lakewood, New Jersey. Now, this is long before it became the massive center of Torah that it is today. Back then, it was just a quiet little resort town, and a huge mystery was about to unfold.
A train machinist is doing his rounds when he spots something on his engine, a yarmulke, a skullcap, and it's stained with blood. A search party gets sent out, and sure enough, about 12 miles from Freehold, they find the mangled body of a man dressed in rags. It looked like he'd been sideswiped by the train.
But here's what the story takes a turn. What they found on him was just astonishing. He wasn't carrying clothes or food. No, he was clutching a bundle of holy books. A Tanya, which is a core text of Hasidic thought, a volume of the Talmud, a book of Kabbalah and science, a prayer book, and a prayer shawl. This wasn't just some random vagrant. This was a deeply, deeply religious Jew, who they soon identified as Rabbi Avraham Yitzchak Klugman.
And you see this incredible disconnect right here. To everyone in town, he was just der Waldmensch, the forest man. Some strange, dirty, homeless guy who they all thought was a little bit mishugain, a little crazy. But the truth, which was about to explode into the open, was that he was something else entirely, a holy man, an incredible servant of God, one of the hidden righteous ones of his generation.
So how did anybody figure this out? Well, the whole story came out because of the last person in the world you would ever expect.
Get this, a writer named Reuven Brainin. He grew up religious, but he'd become a Moskal, which was kind of like an intellectual of the Jewish Enlightenment. He valued secular knowledge just as much as, if not more than, religious texts. He was vacationing in Lakewood, heard these strange rumors about a holy man living in the woods, and, well, his curiosity got the best of him. He had to go see for himself.
So Brennan tracks him down to a local synagogue, and this quote, wow, it just says it all. Before Brennan even saw the man's face, he heard his voice while he was learning, and he was just totally captivated. He wrote, it was like listening to a human soul, a neshamah, trying to escape the physical world, a voice that held the pain of an entire people. At first, it did not go well. Rabbi Klugman just screamed at him, "Leave me be, you are the Satan." But then, someone nearby whispered to the forest man who Brennan was, this famous writer. And just like that, Rabbi Klugman's entire attitude shifted. He apologized, and then he started to talk, thinking that maybe, just maybe, this intellectual could actually understand him.
And what happened next was this unbelievable all-night conversation where this mysterious wanderer finally laid out the deep, profound philosophy that drove his entire life. When Brainin carefully asked him about his dirty clothes and his lifestyle, Rabbi Klugman shot back with this question. And this is the key to everything. He was basically saying, who cares about a clean body if your soul, your neshamah, is filthy? He believed our obsession with the outside world makes our souls impure, and no amount of soap can fix that.
So he had this whole worldview worked out. For him, the body was just a temporary jacket for the soul. He saw regular society as spiritually toxic, full of envy, gossip, and lies. But the forest was pure. He said every blade of grass there sings praise to God. He couldn't trade his eternal life for the cheap, temporary pleasures of this one. He wanted to kill his materialism so his soul could truly live. Brainin was just floored, completely mesmerized. He stumbles out of the synagogue at 3 in the morning, walks through the quiet streets, and just runs home to write. He had to get every single detail of this incredible encounter down on paper before he forgot a single word.
But what happens next? I mean, this is the most staggering part of the whole story. How do we get from that all-night conversation in 1924 to the crowds we see standing at his grave today?
Okay, this is a twist you just can't make up. The very first part of Brainin's article, the one that introduces the world to the incredible forest man, it was published on the exact same morning that Rabbi Klugman's body was found on the train tracks. The man who ran from fame his entire life was finally revealed to the world at the very moment of his death. So how did we get from that forgotten grave to a modern-day pilgrimage site? Well, it was a long, slow journey. After he was buried, the grave and the story were pretty much lost for over 50 years. It wasn't until the 1980s that a scholar named Rav Dovid Thumim stumbled upon those old newspaper articles and started to investigate. But even then, the story stayed underground for another 40 years. It's like this amazing historical puzzle that was put together piece by piece. First, Rav Thumim found the articles. Then, incredibly, he actually found Rabbi Klugman's elderly daughter Bertha and spoke with her. But after Rav Thumim himself tragically passed away, the secret was almost lost again, until his son Heshi just happened to meet someone who knew where the grave was. After that, researchers started sharing the original articles online, and the story just exploded.
And that brings us right back to today. A man who did everything he possibly could to escape other people is now, a century later, a destination for thousands who are looking for his blessing. His entire life was a protest against a world that's obsessed with what's on the outside. So what does it mean that our world is now so drawn to him? That's a pretty powerful question to sit with.